What if I told you that manifesting your dream life is so simple, it almost feels like a lie? The secret isn't magic, it's quantum science. And Dr. Joe Dispenza has been showing thousands of people how to use it. For years, neuroscientists and spiritual teachers alike have explained how thoughts and emotions literally shape matter. But most people still miss the key that makes it actually work. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact formula Dispenza teaches, how to combine thought and emotion so the quantum field responds instantly to you. And before we dive in, tell me in the comments, what's the one thing you'd love to manifest if you knew the formula really worked? Imagine you're surrounded right now by invisible waves, Wi-Fi, radio, Bluetooth. You can't see them, but the moment you tune in with the right device, you get access. Dr. Joe Dispenza says the quantum field works in a similar way. It's an invisible energy field around us, holding infinite possibilities. The difference is, instead of a phone or a computer, your mind and emotions are the antenna. For many people, the term quantum field sounds like abstract physics, but at its core, it's surprisingly simple. Quantum physics discovered that reality, at its smallest level, isn't solid matter, it's energy and information. Particles exist in a state of probability, not certainty until they're observed. In other words, the universe is like a wave of infinite options, and only when attention is focused does one possibility collapse into reality. Dr. Dispenza translates this idea into something practical. Your thoughts and emotions are the signals that interact with this field. Just like tuning a radio station, the frequency you broadcast determines what you receive. Most people unknowingly keep tuning into the same station, their old identity, old emotions, old habits, so they keep experiencing the same life. Now pause for a moment. Have you ever noticed patterns repeating in your life? The same type of relationship, the same financial struggles, the same emotional triggers. Science suggests that it's not because life is random or unfair. It's because the body and mind are hardwired to keep broadcasting the same signal to the quantum field. Here's where the shift begins. When you change the way you think and feel, you change your frequency. And if the field is truly a mirror of that energy, then new possibilities must show up. It's not superstition, it's resonance. Think about this metaphor. If reality is a cosmic jukebox with infinite songs, most people press play on the same track every day. The field has all genres, all possibilities, but your energy decides which record spins. What's revolutionary here is that this isn't just theory. Neuroscience shows that every thought you think is an electrical signal in the brain. Every emotion you feel is a chemical release in the body. Together they form a signature frequency. When repeated, this frequency becomes your baseline state, your energetic address. And according to Dispenza, the quantum field can only deliver to the address you're living in. So if you want a different life, the first step isn't to fight the external world, it's to change your inner broadcast. But let's challenge a common belief here. Most of us were taught that cause and effect means work hard, wait, and eventually results will come. The quantum model flips this. It says, become the cause first, by generating the emotions of the future now, and the effect shows up in your reality. Pause and reflect. What if reality doesn't start out there, but in here? How would your choices change if you knew the field was waiting for you to tune into the right frequency? Dr. Dispenza often uses the analogy of a movie projector. Your thoughts and emotions are the film reel. The quantum field is the light shining through. The movie you see on the screen, your life isn't random. It's a direct projection of what you feed into the reel. To change the movie, you don't fight the screen, you change the reel. This chapter sets the stage for everything else we'll explore. Because if the field is real, and countless experiments suggest it is, then your job is to learn how to send a clear, consistent signal, not scattered thoughts, not emotions rooted in the past, but a coherent broadcast of who you choose to become. And here's the paradox. It's so simple, it feels like a lie. Think differently, feel differently, and reality shifts. Yet most people dismiss it because it doesn't match what they were taught in school. But if you've ever had a gut feeling that turned out to be right, or thought of someone just before they called, then you've already touched the edges of the field. The difference now is you'll learn how to use it deliberately. Imagine a thought as a spark. On its own, it flickers for a moment, bright but gone in an instant. Now imagine pairing that spark with fuel. Suddenly, it ignites into a flame that lasts and spreads. Dr. Joe Dispenza explains it this way. Thoughts are the electrical charge in the quantum field, and emotions are the magnetic charge. Together, they create an energetic signature that not only radiates outward, but also attracts matching experiences back to you. This is where manifestation becomes more than wishful thinking. A thought alone is like sending a message with no return address. It doesn't carry enough weight. But when you combine it with emotion, it becomes a complete signal the quantum field can recognize. Think of the last time you were truly inspired. Maybe you imagined a dream trip, or a new chapter in life, and your whole body felt alive with excitement. That's the kind of energy that imprints itself into the field. On the other hand, if you repeat affirmations while feeling doubt, frustration, or fear, the signal is incoherent, like static on a radio. The field doesn't respond clearly. Here's a relatable example. Have you ever thought about someone intensely and then out of nowhere they call or text? Science would call it coincidence. The quantum perspective calls it resonance. Your thought created an electrical charge, your emotion carried a magnetic pull, and the energy aligned just enough for the connection to manifest. Now pause for a moment. What kind of emotions are you broadcasting most of the time? Stress, gratitude, fear, hope? These aren't just moods. They are magnetic fields shaping what reality echoes back to you. Dispenza often emphasizes that the body doesn't know the difference between an emotion generated by experience and one generated by thought. When you imagine a stressful scenario, your body produces the same chemicals as if it were happening. But here's the empowering flip side. When you imagine a joyful or successful scenario with genuine feeling, your body begins to believe it's real. And because your internal state changes, your external reality starts to reorganize around it. Let's put this into practice right now, just for 30 seconds. Close your eyes if you can. Think of one thing you deeply desire, not from a place of lack, but from a place of already having it. Picture yourself in that reality. See it, hear it, feel it. Now bring in the emotion of gratitude, as if it's already happened. Let your body feel the relief, the joy, the satisfaction. Hold that for a moment. Did you notice how quickly your body responded? Maybe your breathing shifted. Maybe your chest felt lighter. Maybe you smiled without trying. That's not imagination. That's biology. And the quantum field responds to that signal. But here's the trap. Most people live in the opposite direction. They let external circumstances dictate their internal state. They wait for success to feel confident, for love to feel worthy, for healing to feel whole. The quantum model says the opposite. Feel it first, and the external will follow. Imagine waiting for a fireplace to give you heat before adding wood. That's how most people approach manifestation. They demand evidence before commitment. But the field requires the opposite order. You bring the fire of thought and the warmth of emotion, and only then does reality provide the flame. Another metaphor. Think of yourself as a lighthouse. Your thoughts are the beams of light, your emotions the strength of the glow. The stronger and more coherent your light, the farther it reaches into the field, guiding the reality you're calling in. So, what's the key takeaway here? Manifestation is not about repeating empty thoughts. It's about marrying those thoughts with the emotions of the future. That's when your broadcast becomes magnetic enough for reality to shift. And it all begins with awareness. Right now, scan your daily life. What are the top 3 emotions you live in most? Stress, joy, doubt, love? Whatever they are, they're not just shaping your experience, they're shaping the signal you're constantly sending out. By the end of this journey, you'll know exactly how to shift those emotions deliberately. But for now, remember this simple equation. Thought plus emotion equals creation. Most people believe manifestation is about thinking harder, repeating affirmations endlessly, or forcing the mind to focus on what they want. But here's the paradox. The more you push with thought alone, the weaker your signal becomes. Why? Because without emotion, the quantum field receives only static. Dr. Joe Dispenza often points out that overthinking keeps us locked in the analytical brain, the part wired to measure, predict and control based on the past. When you're stuck there, your thoughts may be new, but your emotions are old. And the field responds not to what you say you want, but to what you actually feel. Here's an everyday example. Imagine repeating, I am abundant, while inside you feel scarcity, fear, or doubt. The thought sends one signal, but the emotion broadcasts the opposite. Which one does the field respond to? Always the stronger. Your emotional state. It's like trying to tune into a radio station while blasting another channel louder in the background. The result is noise, not clarity. And the universe doesn't deal in noise, it responds to coherence. Pause here. Can you remember a time when you desperately wanted something, thought about it constantly, but it never came? That's the trap of overthinking. Your energy was rooted in lack, so the field reflected more lack. This is why people get frustrated with manifestation practices. They visualize, they affirm, they push, and then conclude it doesn't work. But the truth is their thoughts were never paired with the right emotion. They were asking from the wrong state of being. Think of a farmer planting seeds. If he digs them up every day to check if they're growing, the seeds never take root. The soil needs trust, time, and nourishment. Overthinking is like digging up the seeds. You're interfering with the natural process because you don't trust it's working. Here's the deeper science. The body gets addicted to familiar emotions. Stress, worry, anger, even though they feel unpleasant, they're chemically familiar. So when you try to think positively, the body pulls you back into the old emotional state. It whispers, "This isn't safe. Stay in what we know." That's why overthinking feels exhausting. Your brain is fighting against your body's conditioning. But here's the breakthrough. You don't need more thoughts. You need fewer but more powerful ones, paired with genuine emotion. One coherent thought felt deeply outweighs 1,000 scattered affirmations. Try this quick reflection. What's one area of life where you've been overthinking? Notice how much mental energy you've spent there. Now ask yourself, beneath all the thoughts, what emotion have you been broadcasting? That emotion, not the words, is what's been shaping your reality. Dispenza often uses meditation to bypass this trap. By quieting the analytical mind, you give the body a new emotional experience, gratitude, love, joy, that's not tied to the past. And in that state, your thoughts become clear, coherent, and aligned with the future you want to create. Imagine a bow and arrow. Overthinking is like shaking the bow hand. You keep aiming, but the arrow wobbles, never flying true. Aligning thought with emotion is like steadying the hand. Suddenly, the arrow cuts through straight to the target. So the invitation here is to stop trying so hard. Manifestation isn't about mental force. It's about energetic alignment. Instead of thinking about abundance 1,000 times, feel abundance once with your whole body. Instead of begging for love in thought, become the vibration of love in emotion. That's when the field recognizes your broadcast. And here's a liberating truth. You don't need to figure out how it happens. The how belongs to the field. Your only task is to send the clearest signal possible. Think of your brain as a vast forest filled with countless trails. Some paths are wide, clear, and easy to walk because you've traveled them every day. Others are overgrown and hard to see because you rarely use them. This is how neural pathways work. The more you think a thought, the stronger that trail becomes. The less you use it, the more it fades. Dr. Joe Dispenza explains that most people live 95% of their lives on autopilot, running down the same old trails. These familiar paths are thoughts tied to emotions, worry, stress, self-doubt, that the brain and body have rehearsed for years. The result? The same experiences repeated over and over because your nervous system expects and prepares for them. But here's the breakthrough: neuroplasticity. Science shows that your brain is not fixed, it's constantly rewiring. Each new thought, each new focus of attention begins carving a fresh trail in the forest. With repetition and emotion, that new path strengthens until it becomes the brain's preferred route. Imagine practicing a musical instrument. At first, your fingers fumble, but with repetition, the notes flow smoothly. The same is true with mental rehearsal. Dispenza often says, the brain doesn't know the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. If you rehearse a future scenario in detail, feeling the emotions, as if it's already real, the brain wires it as though it already happened. Pause for a moment and reflect. If your brain is constantly being wired by your thoughts, what patterns are you strengthening each day? Are you rehearsing fear or rehearsing freedom? Are you practicing stress or practicing peace? Here's where meditation enters the picture. Meditation is not about emptying the mind. It's about directing it. By slowing down brainwaves, you move out of the analytical mind and into deeper states where change is possible. In that space, you can install new programs, thoughts and emotions aligned with the future you want. Think of it like upgrading your brain's software. If you keep running the same old program, fear, limitation, doubt, you'll keep getting the same results. But meditation allows you to uninstall the old code and install new patterns. Over time, the hardware, your brain, literally changes structure. This isn't just philosophy, it's proven in brain scans. Dispenza's workshops have documented participants shifting from high beta brain waves, stress survival mode, into coherent alpha and theta states where creativity, healing, and deep learning occur. Their brains show new neural connections forming in real time. Here's a simple practice you can try. Tonight, before sleep, close your eyes and rehearse one event from your future as though it already happened. See it clearly, but more importantly, feel it. Let your body experience the joy, gratitude, or freedom of that reality. Do this consistently, and you're literally rehearsing your future into existence. It's like athletes who mentally rehearse their performance. Studies show that when a basketball player vividly imagines making free throws, the same brain circuits fire as when actually shooting. The mind trains the body, and the body trains the mind. You can apply the same principle to abundance, love, healing, or any change you seek. But here's the trap to avoid. Don't rehearse the past. Most people unconsciously run the same mental movie every day, of old failures, old hurts, old limitations. And guess what? The brain wires those just as powerfully. The body stays addicted to the familiar emotions of the past, and the future ends up looking the same. The shift happens the moment you say, I will rehearse my future more than I remember my past. That's when new neural pathways strengthen, old ones weaken, and your entire state of being transforms. So rewiring the brain isn't mystical, it's mechanical. Think new thoughts, feel new emotions, repeat them often enough, and the brain becomes a record of your future, not your past. And when that happens, the quantum field can finally respond to the new signal you're broadcasting. If you've ever caught yourself replaying the past on a loop, type the word reset in the comments. It's a powerful reminder that you can rewrite your brain's code. Here's a radical truth. The version of you who already has the life you desire, whether it's abundance, love, health, or freedom, already exists in the quantum field. The question is, are you willing to become that version now before the evidence appears? Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this living as if. It means aligning your inner state, your thoughts and emotions, with the reality you want, even if your outer circumstances haven't caught up yet. Most people do the opposite. They wait for the outer world to change before they feel different. They wait for success to feel confident, for love to feel whole, for healing to feel grateful. But the quantum model flips this. Feel it first, and the outer world reorganizes to match. Think about it like a mirror. If you stand frowning at your reflection, waiting for it to smile before you do, you'll wait forever. The reflection can only follow your lead. Reality works the same way. You change first, inside, and then life reflects it back. Pause and ask yourself, how often do you live in the energy of what's missing, instead of the energy of what's already here? That subtle difference is everything. Here's a practice you can try right now. Close your eyes for just a moment and imagine that one dream you've been holding. See it in detail. Now ask yourself, if it were already real, how would I feel? Joyful, free, grateful, secure? Let that emotion rise in your body, as if the event has already unfolded. Hold it for a few breaths. Did you feel the shift? That's living as if. Your body doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. It only knows the chemistry of the emotion you just generated. And the quantum field, according to Dispenza, responds to that chemistry as a broadcast signal. Here's a metaphor. Imagine tuning into a TV channel. The picture you see depends on the frequency you select. If you want to watch channel 10, you don't beg channel 7 to change. You simply switch the dial. Living as if is switching your inner channel to the frequency of the life you want. The outer world has no choice but to match. But here's the trap. Most people check too often. They feel abundance during meditation, then look around and see bills and immediately shift back to lack. They feel love for a moment, then notice the empty bed and fall back into loneliness. It's like planting a seed and digging it up every day to see if it's growing. The secret is consistency. You rehearse the future so often and feel it so deeply that your body believes it's already true. Once your nervous system accepts the new identity, the external world simply mirrors it back. Think of an actor preparing for a role. They don't just memorize lines. They step into the character until they are that person on stage. Similarly, when you live as if, you become the character of your future self. You walk, speak, and feel from that reality until it no longer feels like acting, it feels natural. Here's a question for you. If your future self walked into the room right now, what energy would they radiate? How would they carry themselves? What emotions would they live in? That's your roadmap. Living as if isn't pretending, it's embodying. Pretending feels fake because it's disconnected from emotion. Embodying feels real because your body, brain, and energy align. And when that alignment becomes your default state, The quantum field has no choice but to deliver experiences that match. So, the invitation is simple yet profound. Stop waiting. Stop rehearsing the past. Start living today as the person you already are in the quantum field. Because the moment you become it inside, reality begins to bend to your signal. If you're ready to live as if your dream is already real, type the word "become" in the comments. It's your signal to step into that future self. If manifestation feels hard, it's usually not because the quantum field isn't working. It's because your old identity is still running the show. Think of it this way. Your personality creates your personal reality. If you keep being the same person, thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same emotions, making the same choices, then life can only recycle the same results. Dr. Joe Dispenza often says, to change your life, you must become someone else. Not in the sense of pretending, but in the sense of shedding the old version of yourself that's addicted to the past. And make no mistake, the body can become addicted to emotions just like it does to substances. Stress, anger, guilt, unworthiness, they create chemical loops that feel familiar, even if they're painful. Pause and reflect. Which emotions do you return to over and over, almost like a reflex? Those are the anchors of the old identity. And if you try to manifest from within them, you'll keep creating more of the same. Here's a metaphor. Imagine wearing a heavy costume. It's bulky, limiting, and outdated, but it feels safe because it's what you've always worn. Stepping into your future self requires taking off that costume piece by piece. At first, you might feel exposed, but only then can you move freely into a new way of being. Real stories bring this to life. In Dispenza's workshops, people have reported breaking free from years of illness, addiction, or limitation, not because of external cures, but because they stopped identifying with the sick person, the addict, or the broken one. They rehearsed new emotions, gratitude, joy, wholeness, until the body no longer believed in the old self. And as the identity shifted, the physical reality followed. Ask yourself this powerful question. Who am I being that I no longer want to be? That one inquiry can reveal the chains of the old self. But breaking free isn't about fighting the old identity. It's about starving it. When you stop giving attention and energy to the same thoughts and emotions, the old self begins to lose power. Instead, you feed the new self, the one who already lives in the reality you desire. Here's the trap. Many people sabotage themselves because the old identity feels realistic. They say, "This is just who I am. This is my story. This is how life works." But those phrases are not truth, they're habits. And every habit can be broken with awareness and practice. Think of a snake shedding its skin. At first, the old skin clings tightly, but eventually it peels away to reveal new life underneath. You don't lose yourself in the process. You discover the greater version that was always waiting. Here's a quick exercise. Write down 3 identities you've been carrying that no longer serve you. For example, the one who always struggles with money, the one who's unlucky in love, or the one who can't stay consistent. Then, beneath each, write the new identity you're choosing instead. The one who attracts opportunities, the one who radiates love, the one who is disciplined and free. By naming them, you begin the process of rewiring who you are. The moment you decide to stop being defined by your past is the moment the future can reach you. That's the essence of breaking free. You are no longer a victim of memory, but a creator of possibility. And yes, it feels uncomfortable at first. The old self will resist, whispering, "This isn't you, go back to what you know." But remember, that voice isn't truth. It's conditioning. Every step you take into the unknown is evidence that the old identity is losing power. So breaking free from the old self isn't about becoming someone fake. It's about finally becoming the self that matches the life you desire, the one you've glimpsed in moments of inspiration, the one that already exists in the quantum field, waiting for you to claim it. Up until this point, we've explored the science, the traps, and the practices. Now comes the essence of manifestation, realizing that your future isn't something you wait for. It's something you create now. Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches that the quantum field is timeless. It doesn't operate on linear cause and effect like we were taught. Instead, It responds to your state of being in the present moment. When you align thoughts and emotions with your desired future, you collapse possibilities into reality. Not someday, but starting now. Think of it this way: every moment, you're placing an order with the universe. Your energy, what you think and feel, is the request. The field doesn't care about your wishes. It responds to your broadcast. If your signal is stress, worry, and lack, the future that forms will carry those same ingredients. If your signal is gratitude, love, and abundance, that's the recipe life begins to cook up for you. Pause and reflect. What orders have you been unconsciously placing today? Were they rooted in your past self or your future self? Here's the empowering truth. Creating the future now doesn't mean waiting for external evidence. It means embodying the energy of that future in this moment. Gratitude before the gift arrives, love before the relationship appears, wholeness before the healing shows up. A powerful metaphor is the gardener. When you plant seeds, you don't stare at the soil demanding instant proof. You water them, nurture them, and trust they're growing. The same applies to manifestation. The moment you plant a clear thought and water it with emotion, the process has already begun. Dispenza often reminds his students that the unknown is where creation lives. If you keep repeating the past, your future is predictable. But when you step into the unknown with trust, with new emotions, you step into the space where miracles can happen. Here's a mini practice you can try today. Take one desire you've been holding, and for the next 2 minutes, imagine that it has already unfolded. Feel the gratitude so deeply that your body relaxes into it as truth. Then let it go. Don't analyze. Don't check for results. Just carry that emotion into your next action. That's living in the future now, and yes, doubts will arise. The old self will whisper, but nothing has changed yet. When that happens, remember, if you are the same person waiting, you'll keep waiting. But if you become the person who already has it, the waiting ends, because energetically you are already there. Think of a radio transmitter. It doesn't broadcast tomorrow, it broadcasts now. The signal you send in this very moment is what reality tunes into. That's why your greatest power isn't in the past or the future, it's in the now. So here's the final invitation. Stop postponing your future. Stop saying, one day I'll feel abundant. One day I'll feel loved. One day I'll feel free. Instead, choose to embody it today, even in small ways, even if just for a minute. Because every time you do, you reinforce that identity, and the quantum field has no choice but to align with it. The future is not out there waiting. It's already here, waiting for you to match it. And when you do, when you step into that frequency with your whole being, life becomes less about surviving and more about creating. So ask yourself one final question. What future am I willing to live right now? If you're ready to create your future now, type the word now in the comments. It's your signal to step fully into the life waiting for you.